You're betting the guy $10. You're going to bet Dave the bread man, or you're going to bet Tony the bread man, or Zalen the hunchback in Notre Dame. It's an entirely different story. I bet Bernie Gogol $2. Or Stevie Sanders is going to get on a court and say, I'll tell you what he'll say. I'll bet you $10 that they don't make 14 points or something like that.
Right.
What are you going to do that in tennis? You can't.
Although they do it in basketball.
What do they do in basketball? The bets are made with bookmakers in advance.
Right.
The prices are in the newspapers, right?
Right. And they
What do you want to get prices on handball games in newspapers? Baseball, it's in black and white, right? You call up the bookmaker, he'll give you the price.
You know, Al Torres, when he was interviewed, you know, he said it hurt his game to be involved in money because he was trying to control the spread. He wasn't playing as well sometimes.
He never had money bet on him, only once in his life. He played doubles in a tournament. The guy said to him, if I win the tournament, I'm going to give you $500. And the guy came from Florida that told him that. Finally, the final match took place. Okay, Al Tumber and Charlie Sheldon played against Al Torres, who could probably made a game out of it by himself, and he played with, who did he play with, I mean?
Donnie, Crazy Donnie.
Crazy Donnie the Meshuggah. So Donnie lost. I don't think Al Torres got a nickel out of it. So when Al Torres told you a story about money, who bets on his game? Nobody bets on his game. What are they gonna bet? They make a mountain out of a molehill. Talk to people, they say, this was bet, that's bet. They're full of shit. Most of the times that the biggest game I've ever seen, I held in the middle, I must have held over $3,000. They played at the gym on 33rd Street and Surf Avenue, where Benji and his brother played against two players. And besides the money I held, there was probably $1,000 bet on the side. They played strictly according to tournament rules. Louis hurt himself.
That's Benji's brother.
In the second game, the other team said, look, the money's up, you got to finish the game the way you are. There's no replay at another time, so forth and so on. And nobody argued the point, and he played and lost.
Now,
Richie Spataro, Big Eddie, for the team they played.
Oh.
You know I held $3,000 in the middle? I bet you never knew that.
No.
You know how much money they gave me for refereeing the game? At least $25. You know, we had an attendance of people that came to watch. There had to be maybe 200 people watching.
How does it?
I don't know exactly.
How does a thing like that get together with thousands of dollars in bet? I mean, it's like, it seems to, you know.
Well, Big Eddie was involved. He was in charge of the gym. He liked to gamble and play for big money. Benji and Louie and his brother and his sister raised some money.
Yeah,
And a couple of friends. Richie Spataro has a job making some kind of valves. So I don't know how much he put up, but Big Eddie put up most of the money. Never had any cash. And they took every decision.
But how do they decide? How do they decide who's going to play whom? And you know, how do they get? You know, how do they
I'll tell you what
organize
happened. They ran a tournament out here, a big blue tournament.
Yeah.
And Big Eddie and Richie Spataro won the tournament. And Benji and Louie were in the same tournament. It was very close to score. Big Eddie and Richie won the tournament, so they decided somehow or other, although it wasn't true, that those were the two top teams at that particular time. They didn't use anybody from the village, no Emmett, no Buddy, none of those other chayas that showed up. So they were the people that represented the Big Blue, mind. That's Big Blue. And they had enough money on both sides to put up that amount of money, and somehow or other, Albert got them the place to play in with permission from Howie Kadish. It was an indoor game. Regardless of what the weather was going to be, if it rained or snowed, they knew they had a place to play. Usually you make up games out here. Comes the day you have to play. It's snowing, raining, whatever the shit may be. Anyway, it was a very, very exciting day for me. You know how many times Albert has seen to it that I, as a referee, received money for refereeing games? I don't think there's ever been a game of any type that Albert had anything to do with where he didn't turn over something to me. He says, here, take it, don't worry about it. See, now when Paul Williams runs a tournament, he's with a different organization. I don't knock him. He gives out more plaques. He gives out maybe more trophies. And Paul's the type of a guy that wants to make sure that the players get the biggest benefit out of it. He loves to have volunteers referee. He's been very lucky because he's got Dory, Albert's wife, helping him. Maybe a guy looks to steal 2 bananas. She collects money, or something similar to that, which is important. It's good to have women around the table, not just men. Because today, there are more women playing handball than I saw years ago. You come to the tournaments, you'll see.
Yeah, I have to say this, the women that play handball are built, you know, like the proverbial brick outhouse.
Yeah, like weightlifters, good. We never had that before.
In the old days, there weren't any women around?
There were, yes and no. Then after a while, there were none at all. But now you got at least 5 or 6 good players. You got Mirabelle with her son, a future daughter-in-law. You got Dory. You got a couple of other people that play handball, which is interesting, you know.
Yeah.
Some of these girls play a game that's more interesting than the fellas.
It's strange because you don't expect a woman to be involved in a game of domination and force.
But it's not really dominating because handball is a non-contact sport. Many girls, as a kid going to school, loved to play handball. These girls that play for the high school teams,
yes,
most of them love it.
That's where they come at it, yeah.
Then what are they going to play, football? Baseball?
They play football in CrossFit Park, you want to know?
I know, they play. So handball is best suited for them. They love it. And it gives the coaches of the schools something to do. In other words, the women coaches of the girls' handball team. Some of them are thrilled. They love to travel with the girls, be part of the group, and have these girls represent whatever school it happens to be. It makes them feel important.
Can I ask you, Morris, have there been situations in handball tournaments or match games where you suspected are dumb?
Yeah, only in the Big Blue. I saw no reason for it with the small ball. I couldn't understand. But the Big Blue, I seen this kid Cricket get on the court.
And you suspect the worst, right?
Yeah, I can't understand even this other guy playing ball, all of a sudden scoring 4 points off Buddy and walking off the court. There was a game that Rookie had to play against. Rookie had to play a singles match against Buddy. The question was, should they play according to the rules that are played at Avenue P, not Avenue P, in the village, where the people call their own blocks?
On West 4th Street.
They wanted Albert as a referee, so Albert in the village. Albert says, look, if I'm the referee, I'm calling all the blocks. So Rookie says, oh no, I can't play such a game. How does he know what's in my mind? Maybe I don't want to block. So Buddy said like this. Albert had to go take the lead. Buddy says, look, I'll play any rules that they want us to play. If Albert wants to call the blocks, I'll play by those rules. Finally, after 15 minutes of arguing, they agreed to play where Albert calls all the blocks. Buddy was winning like 18-4. And Rookie walked off the court and says, I can't play under these terms. So I says to him, I was on his short line. Just because Albert calls a block, suddenly you can't hit the ball. He said, well, what does Albert know what's in my mind? Maybe I want to hit the ball, I don't want to block. So the answer was, you're a handball player. You're not a referee. When you play handball, you don't make any calls. You concentrate on winning. If you got to call your own blocks and play handball at the same time, it's taking something away from you.
Right, but you know, practically everybody is accustomed to calling their own block, so a half a second goes by where you want to call it.
Too late.
Too late.
Ross, it's stupid. I don't think the player, it makes it easy for the referee, don't get me wrong. But he loses control of the players when the players are calling their own block. This way, if they hear the word block from a referee, they know that someone's in charge of the game. If they're calling their own blocks, and it has to be verified, as if to say, well, if a guy don't give me a block, I'll get rid of him.
Okay, I want to ask you, Morris.
Are we still on tape?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Is there a social world, or I'll put it like this, how is the social world of handball, or the world of handball, however you want to describe it, about 50 years ago? Is it any different? Had it been every...
Well, that's a very interesting subject, the social world. You got to remember, years ago, the kids that played handball were young up to a certain point, because as they got older, they had to go to work and earn a living, they had to get married. But over here, no matter what age a person is, he comes down to play ball. He's like a kid. Even though he has problems at home, he escapes. He comes down here at 10 o'clock in the morning to be with the handball players, to forget about his problems. But when you're a group of kids that are going to high school and you're playing handball, you can understand the difference. It's like playing Johnny on a pony on the beach. Everybody's full of life. Everybody's hopping around. Not like you got here, guy 65 years of age. They come around. Here's a guy, Danny Flickstein. Comes around like a war horse with all kinds of equipment to play handball. He said he'd be here on a Wednesday to play singles.
Anything to do with war.
You get the picture? These are older people. They got to be in their own world. Once they get at home, they're in a new field. Maybe their wife don't want to hear about handball. But as a group of kids that are 17 and 18 years of age that go to high school and play handball, they're with their own social group. Now,
so it's kind of a group thing instead of going out in the street on your own and making your own way as you did 50 years ago.
A kid of 17, 18 played ball. He wasn't interested in nothing but playing ball. Playing handball was his life, or playing football was his life, or playing basketball with the school team was his life. You worked at the Brownsville Boys Club. You saw those people that came around here.
Yeah, I did.
To play basketball.
Yeah.
Those chayas they had. Did they give a damn about anybody except themselves because they could play ball? Today you got problems. You don't have enough handball players. You got young kids playing with older people. Correct?
Yeah.
You got people that aren't really that old that are driving trucks and sneak in and play a couple of games of handball. It's a different world. You can't compare the two of them. Impossible. Yeah, Albert's now. How old is he? Let's say he's 40.
He's 40.
He wants to act like he's 17. It's not that easy. He's married. He's got to be home at a certain time, right? I think as the guy gets older, he gets senile. He can stay away and hang around here all day. But when he reaches a certain age, like he say he's 31 or 32 and he's married, he better be home by a certain hour. The only time his wife will let him play ball is maybe Saturday morning. He's got to be home by 12 o'clock